Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Radi's webinar. So today we are going to share about digital outreach made simple. My name is Maggie. I'm a staff member with Crew Singapore. I'm part of the #Radi team, and I'll be your MC today. So, Radi. So hopefully #Radi by now you guys would know what does it stand for. Okay. If anyone knows, well, I prepared the PowerPoints. Please put it in the chat if you know what does #Ready stands for. Okay, so #Ready stands for, oops, it stands for reaching everyone around you. Yeah, so it's an initiative to activate and empower all Christians, and in particular young adults, to share Christ in our daily lives. We take reference from 1 Peter 3:15, which say, "You must worship Christ as Lord of our life, and if someone asks about your hope as a believer, always be ready to explain it." Yeah, so let me share with you a little bit more about #Ready campaign. So this can be described in 3 phases. For phase 1, we had organized a series of open webinars to equip the church to be an effective witness for Christ in our current digital world. You can still catch up on the past webinars through crew.sg/watch again. So today is our last webinar of this whole series. So congrats everyone who has been joining us since the first webinar. So if you haven't, go and watch again and catch up with the series. So currently we are at the tail end of phase 2, partnering with Thirst Collective and One for Jesus movement over this Lent season from March till currently mid-April. Crew seeks to come alongside with every young adult to share the gospel in everyday life and to be salt and light through our Telegram community center, community channel, not center. Yeah, so and for phase 3, which is this weekend, over the Easter weekend, we are encouraging churches, organizations, and small groups like your cell group to host digital days of outreach where groups of Christians and Christian communities can come together to intentionally reach out to their networks and friends over social media and other digital platforms. So I believe today our speaker will share a little bit more about how this can happen as well. So we want to encourage and challenge you to join us at the DDO outreach this weekend. So do scan a QR code or join us through the sign up through the link which is in your chat right now. So allow me to share with you one more announcement before I introduce the evening webinar speaker. So after this whole series of Ready webinars, we also have various events that are upcoming, like the from the Significance Project with Dr. Candice Chi. They are going to do a webinar to how to bring out the best in you. They hope that this will be an outreach platform where you can bring your pre-believing friends to come and learn from Dr. Candice. And also various Ministry of Crew Singapore, Family Life, also running different courses so that you can use their resources to continue to reach out to your friends, neighborhoods, and community that you are in. So do scan the QR code and join them and find out more as well. So without further ado, let me introduce the speaker tonight. So tonight we don't not only have one, but we have 2 speakers tonight. So they are Simon and Lillian. So a little introduction. Simon cares about bringing the unchanging gospel to a changing generation. God has written this burden into his story through making him a creative who get energized by ideas, innovation, and strategies, and loves seeing life impacted when gospel is creatively and clearly communicated. And Lillian is passionate about coaching people to discover and live out God's call in their lives. She is a strategic thinker and seek to help leaders use digital strategy to help fulfill Great Commission. So both of them look so young, right? But they have been on staff for more than 20 years and serve as a senior digital strategist. They are also 老公老婆, of course. They are also worship leaders in Covenant Evangelical Free Church and shepherd 3 young adult children. So let me hand over time to both of them, enjoying the time of their sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. Well, thank you so much, everybody. We're so glad that you chose to be part of this important session. It shows that you really desire to learn and grow.
Yes, thank you so much for being here for our final webinar. I also happen to be the lead for #Ready, and in these past few months, it's really been very encouraging to see many people like yourself coming to want to learn how to be a better witness for Christ. And so if this isn't your first webinar, thank you for joining us again.
Well, Lillian and I are going to take this conversational approach to recap some of the highlights from the past few months. Lots of awesome content, and hopefully point you to some tips, ideas, and tools to really help you engage in digital evangelism. So perhaps some of you, as you've come here or joined this session, you're asking this very basic question: what is digital outreach? What really does it mean to be engaged in digital outreach? Well, let me go way back, right? Back in 22 years ago, December 5th, 2000, there was an article published on the newspaper. And once you see the headlines, you probably make you laugh, right? Why? You see it right shortly, but it would take you back 2 decades. And it says the internet may just be a passing fad as millions give up on it. Can you believe it? 22 years later, we clearly know that this was a wrong prediction, and it's definitely not a fad. In fact, today, as more of our lives are spent online, it's becoming harder and harder to distinguish real life from life lived digitally, right? And 62% or 62.5% of people worldwide spend 7 hours a day on their screen with all kinds of activities. And you and I are counted as one of those statistics, right? Maybe not 7 hours, but quite a lot. So if I were to sum it up, digital missions or digital outreach really is about making Jesus known and his message available to anyone, anywhere, anytime. And it's through whatever digital platforms and media that's available to us. That essentially is digital missions or digital outreach.
Yeah, and it could be as simple as using an app to share the gospel easily, or sharing a video, or just sharing a simple message or text through WhatsApp to encourage someone.
Yeah, totally. So as we get started, I want to remind us that the world is hungry for hope. They are searching for true hope that can only be found in Jesus. And that's why you and I have to play a part, and we're called to play a part to bring this unchanging message to our changing world.
So as we talk about, digital outreach, let's first talk about overcoming the barriers, right? I'm going to list down some common barriers that we hear. It may be something actually you've heard yourself say or heard other people say. One of it is, it won't work. It won't work. Digital outreach won't work. Well, if you say this, you've already defeated yourself even before you started trying. The next one is, nobody wants to listen to me. I don't have anything worth saying or writing. Well, I'd like us to all listen to Katie's story, and she's going to tell you how she came to discover Christ.
I was born in mainland China. Like many Chinese, I didn't grow up with a religious background, and in fact, I would categorize myself as an atheist. So I went to the UK to study, and then after graduation, I found myself a job in the financial center in London, and I stayed in the UK to work. But as the years went on, I started to feel this sense of inner emptiness, which I just couldn't understand why. Because on paper, I have everything. I should feel content and happy, but yet I couldn't deny the reality that I just felt so empty inside. So I started to explore different ways, trying to find an answer to my deep, long question, what is the purpose of my life? But yet I just couldn't find anything that could answer to this. Until one day on my Facebook page, I saw a friend of mine posted a worship song lyrics. So at that point, you see, I had known this friend for years. I knew that she is a Christian, but yet we never really talked about her faith. Although church was brought up in our conversation, I never really asked further questions, and she never shared in details. Until this point, when I saw her Facebook page that she shared this song. And as I was reading the lyrics of the song, I was encountered by this love, this selfless and sacrificial love carried out by a person called Jesus. And I had never experienced or read anything about this type of love. It's almost one of a kind. And I was just so drawn to this person called Jesus. And as I was reading this song lyrics, I just started to cry. I was just so shocked by the reality that I just cried over one song. And so I reached out to my friend. I said to her, can we talk about your faith? And I remember during that conversation, she tried to share with me who Jesus is and why he came to this world. And I started to realize actually maybe there's something about this person that I should explore further. And she boldly invited me on the phone to go to her church to attend.
Well, simple song lyrics posted by a friend, of course, a prior relationship, friendship. But that was what led Katie to reach out to want to find out who this Jesus is. And that gave her friend the opportunity to share and also to invite her to church. Now, God can use whatever you share, no matter how simple it is.
Yeah, totally. He can use just that simple thing you do to touch someone's life. We never know that. And we might have the privilege like Katie or like Katie's friend to introduce her to Jesus. So don't underestimate what God can do through your obedience.
That's right. So seek the Lord and ask him, what he wants you to share, and then let him use you. The other barrier that we hear very commonly is, it's too hard. I don't know where to start. Or another one, I don't know how to do it. What is digital outreach? Well, I just want to encourage you that, we are all on a journey and we're all learning, right? We are not experts here, right? We all tried something and, made some mistakes, trial and error, but we just kept trying and kept learning. And if we believe that this gospel of Christ is important for our friends and our families to hear, and we want them to also not miss out on the blessings of this relationship that we have experienced ourselves, then we have to just keep trying and not give up sharing, especially on a digital platform. So if you don't know how to start or what to do, we have help for you. I think it's been mentioned already. Our previous #Ready webinars in the past few months, our speakers have shared some of their learnings and their tips. You can check out the resources at crew.sg/watch again. Now, today we will only scratch the surface and maybe recap some of the highlights that they have shared. So we encourage you to watch these webinars to go more in depth, into the topics that they talk about. And these topics included how to use stories from your own life to connect with the gospel, how to start and guide conversations, how to use social media and learn from Jesus's principles. If Jesus used social media, what would he have done, right? How did he use stories and questions? Now, another way to do digital outreach is through simple tools, right? These are tools that have been developed for the very purpose of, digital outreach, tools to help you and guide you, and yet flexible enough for you to be able to, go further or adapt to your situation. I'm going to highlight a few of these, and you can find all these resources on crew.sg/ready resources. First one that I want to highlight to you is God Tools. Now, this app includes some of the most commonly used gospel presentations that you've probably heard of. They include the 4 spiritual laws, the 4 knowing God personally, and so on, many more. Done in a very clear, attractive format, easy to share, and also in many languages. If you are chatting with a friend on your mobile, or you're meeting in person with a friend and God presents you an opportunity to share the gospel, you don't have to panic or scramble, to find an evangelistic tract, to show them, or panic about, how do I condense the whole gospel into, 5 minutes or 5 simple points. You just whip out your phone, and open up the God Tools app. Or you can go onto your laptop or your tablet and go to knowgod.com. They are the same. And you can pick the heart language of your friend, especially if this person, is not from Singapore. Just pick one of the tools and begin. You can even, share your screen from within God Tools. That's one of the key, special features that they have, so that your friend can see on their device exactly what you are seeing. And you can send them a link to the tool, all within God Tools. Simon, you have had this opportunity, right, to use God Tools to share in a very unique place before. Why don't you share that with our friends?
I'm not sure about unique, but it's pretty common, like on a flight. I remember, sitting with 2 ladies, and somehow we got to chatting about, what we do. And then I shared that, I work with people to develop tools that help them discover their purpose in life. And they were a little curious. I said, I opened up my phone and said, this is one of those apps. And I opened up God Tools, literally, and to knowing God personally. And then I just showed them, one slide at a time. And we just talked, pretty naturally over a conversation. And they were intrigued. And in fact, I sent them the link to say that you can check it out on your own, later on. So that's
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and sometimes the hardest part is actually getting the conversation started, right? It's not that we don't want to talk about Jesus, but we just don't know how to get going.
That's
Well,
right.
I'm going to also share with you God Tools Openness, right? Within the God Tools app is a tool called Openness. It's basically conversation starters. It's a brand new tool. It provides us with great questions to, as a door to great conversations. You can choose a topic, browse a question, and simply pick one and ask the person that you want to chat with. These topics include culture and worldview, family, current events, relationships, even music, films, and books.
Mm-hmm.
So a wide variety. We'll come back to this again later, and you'll see how it's being used.
It's one more thing that really cool about God Tools is that it teaches you how you can share your faith. So one of the resources right within God Tools is called Teach Me to Share. And Teach Me to Share helps you get started to simply explain the gospel, trusting in the Holy Spirit to how to listen well, be authentic, respond lovingly in a conversation, and much more.
Yeah, that's right. So God Tools, right? We highly recommend it for digital outreach made simple. The next tool I want to present to you is the Jesus Film Project app. Okay. Did you know that the Jesus Film actually is the Gospel of Luke made into a full-length movie.
Mm.
So in this Jesus Film app, you actually have access to this full feature-length movie, but you also have this movie broken up into 61 short clips. So you can pick one, some of them are just 1-2 minutes to 4 minutes long, and share whichever clip you think is relevant with your friend. So for example, now during this Easter season, you could pick maybe, the crucifixion scene or the empty tomb, or how Jesus calms the storm, whatever you think your friend is going through, and share this video with them. The app also has many other short films that are thought-provoking and great conversation starters. Let's watch one of them together now. Powerful, right? I don't know if you were, but I actually found myself holding my breath when when the movie started. Well, here are a few of the questions that are provided in the app that you can ask your friend after they watch the short film. What are your thoughts about the story? What do you think are the desperate needs that people are facing today? Are there life situations that seem scary to you? If yes, why? What do you love about life, and what about life is important to you? So great conversation starters and questions to help you as well. Another great short film is Falling Plates. You can also find that in Got Tools, or you can go to fallingplates.com. Yeah, so a friend of ours in Orlando loves to use the Jesus Film app, but I'll let Simon tell you more because he's more familiar with Marcus. Yeah.
Yeah, so this friend, wherever he went, he would carry, of course, his phone with him, but he travels a lot to Africa, and he would tell us the story, like wherever he went, whether it's a faraway village, it doesn't matter. He'll find that he's an opportunity to share something about Jesus. But he would ask them actually first, what language do you speak? And then he would take that language and he enter it into the Jesus Film app, and inevitably you will find a Jesus Film clip, or the film in that person's language, and then they will watch it together. And often you will see the eyes of these people light up, and they are thrilled because this is the first time that likely they are watching a film in their very own heart language. And then not only that, they're hearing Jesus, the Son of God, speak their language. And so that the impact is so powerful.
Yeah, that's right. So, the Jesus Film is in almost close to 2,000 languages, right? So it's also available in our Asian dialects. I've actually tried to use the Hakka version before to share with my grandma. So use it, you can use it anytime, anywhere, and, in many languages you can find to be able to use it with a friend. The next resource I want to share with you is Indigitus. Indigitus is a movement co-founded by my dear husband here. And it's a movement that champions digital missions. On indigitus.org, you will find lots of stories, lots of examples, ideas, and inspiration, resources for digital missions. It is too much for me to mention, but please check it out, indigitus.org. Finally, I invite you to join us for DDO, a Digital Day of Outreach. Now, this is an intentional time that you get together with a few friends or your spiritual community and do digital outreach together. Now, why do it together? Because it's more fun. And it always helps to do it together with someone, right? For encouragement, for ideas. And when you get stuck in a conversation, you can always help each other out. All you need to do is come together, pray, maybe worship a little, then whip out your devices and start connecting with your friends online. You can send short films like Breathe that we just watched, or Falling Plates that lead to hopefully spiritual conversations. We also have the guide to how to organize a DDO, as well as a recorded webinar of the same name on our Ready website. So you can access it and download it, learn how to organize one on your own for your church or your small group. So that's found at crew.sg/DDO1. But we have a special DDO organized for you this coming Saturday morning. And we hope that Easter will be a great opportunity for us to, start conversations about Jesus. Do come and join us on site for this chance to reach out and also learn from one another. So sign up, join us at crew.sg/readyddo1. Now, don't worry if you miss any of these links that we've sent you or that we've, put on screen. You just go to our Ready website, you find everything there. And that will be crew.sg/ready.
Okay. That's great. Well, by the way, if you have any questions for us, there's a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Please post your questions at the end of our time. We probably have about 20 minutes or so, which we'll try to address some of your questions. All right. Okay, well, we're going to move into another segment. Before I kind of wrap up this section here, and you've heard quite a bit about these, various digital tools, ideas and resources. Which one would you want to trust God to get started? What is something that you can see yourself using right away, maybe even this week? Think about it. Take a moment to consider. Right? As we move to the final segment, I just want to offer a very simple framework that many who have attended our sessions found very helpful. And it is this approach to conversations with those that we want to reach out to. And it's called the Ask, Listen, Share framework. Okay, yes, you see the walking ears, but this is the Ask, Listen, Share framework. And I'm just going to walk through it briefly because I really think it will help you as you think about digital outreach. The first one is simply ask, right? Jesus asked questions. Who do you say I am? Do you believe? Do you want to get well? Why are you so afraid? Why did you doubt? So many questions. Questions help us discover and understand where a person is, and then lets you enter in on their journey and come alongside them. God's first question was to Adam in Genesis 3:9. Where are you? Who told you you were naked? By the way, many of these questions are open questions. Those are the best. These are questions that you can't simply answer with a yes or no or short answer. As the name suggests, it helps open up the doors for digging deeper and going wider. If I ask Lil, hey, did you have a good day today?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah or
No.
no, all right? So, and she'll likely, answer very shortly, and then it's the end of the conversation. So as mentioned earlier, God Tools Openness has some wonderful open questions to try. So Lil is going to use the God Tools app right now and find a question, and we'll show you how easy it is. Okay, so we're gonna role play a little bit here, and yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I pulled up the God Tools app, right? Okay, on my phone. And at the bottom, there's a tab that says All Tools. Okay, if I click on that, I will see openers right at the top, and I'll open the tool. And then there are many categories of questions. I'm going to pick the happiness one. Okay, 12 questions. I will scroll and see which one is relevant. Okay, I'll just pick the third one. Okay, I'm going to use this to start a conversation with a long-time colleague, okay, of mine. His name is Simon. Okay, Simon, yeah, what are some of the simple joys in life that you find right now?
Simple choice. Great question. Drinking kopi siu dai, and having my half-boiled eggs. Yeah.
Why does that bring you joy?
I don't know, there's just something comforting about it, you know. Of course, I can even imagine the kopi siu dai taste right now.
And how, like, is it a daily routine?
Not really, unfortunately. I wish I could do it more. Yeah, like a daily routine.
What stops you?
You know, busy, work demands, boss is hounding you, all kinds of things, and you just can't pull away. Yeah.
Wow, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, when it's busy and stressful like that, you know, what do you think is something that you really need?
Actually, I think I need that. I need to pull away and just have that space. I think if that became more like I don't even say routine or a rhythm, that may actually help me, you know, settle down. Yeah, and maybe find a bit more calm.
Okay, so a routine.
Yeah.
To find some calm.
Yeah.
By calm, you mean like peace?
Yeah, that would be nice, you know. I'm not, yeah, there's just so much going on, and the chaos, and I just wonder when can you actually find any kind of, yeah, I mean, with all that's going on around us, where to find peace. Yeah.
Wow, thanks for sharing that. Yeah. I realized actually, you know, we've been friends for so long, right? I never actually shared with you, like, you know, how I find peace in my life. And it's kind of related to my faith. Is it okay if I share with you?
Oh, okay. I don't mind.
Okay, yeah. Thanks. Okay, end of demonstration. So if you listen, I hope you listen to our, you know, a little role play, you will realize that, you know, after I asked the opening question, I listened to his answer. I actually followed up with more open questions, right? And sometimes I will affirm his answers, like, oh, thanks for sharing, oh, you know. And I also ask clarification questions. And then when I have an opportunity, I ask his permission to share my story. So the second step to the ask, listen, share framework is to listen. Listen for understanding, you know, listen for needs, to understand what their emotional and spiritual conditions are. A few things that you could do as you listen is to seek to understand and pray for discernment as you are listening. Suspend judgment, be empathetic, and also to respond lovingly. Yeah.
It's so important to give your friend the gift of listening. Yeah, so appreciate that. Yeah. And then finally, ask, listen, share, right? It's share your stories, right? It's so, at the last webinar, Dr. Sean McDowell, I highly recommend if you missed that session, he reminded us that stories are persuasive. Commercials that have such an impact on us, advertisements, are actually stories made into a very well done package. TikTok videos are actually quick stories. These are powerful ways to express truth. There's a quote from a cognitive scientist that says, humans are not ideally set up to understand logic, and yet we keep trying to use logic, right, to explain things. They are actually ideally set up to understand stories. Remember, however, that we need to follow the leading of the Spirit. It's not just about meeting a KPI. I got to share this person, I just got to get it out there. Let the Spirit prompt you. He is your guide. So as we wrap up, I want to offer you a few encouraging thoughts and then get you going. These few principles just to guide you. All right, and they're just going to be quick, and we're going to throw in one video there just to give some illustration. But the first is this: be creative. God has made you, our creative God has made you, into a creative person. You may not feel like you are one, but you have a lot of potential within. I just came across something that's really cool. A friend of mine that's actually a mom of 3 young kids. During the pandemic, God laid something upon her heart. She has a hobby in lettering, right? So you see something like that. She actually started a Facebook page during the time, and she already has been doing this as part of her routine, right? Writing things on letters or cut little cards, and then God was just prompting her, why don't you put this on the Facebook page? And so she did what God led her. And then she began to see lots of people responding on through Facebook Messenger and chats and just kind of timely messages for them. And this is during the pandemic, so people were searching for hope, and they were just reaching out for help. So when I hear this story, I think to myself, it's like God can use simple things like that. You're not being fancy, you're just being yourself. But a little bit of obedience, following what God has prompted you and being creative. The second is being authentic. Do what you're good at and what you're passionate about. Let's hear Isaac tell us this very cool story about the Brompton fan for Jesus. Okay, let's watch it.
I know of friends and people that they are so passionate about cycling. They love cycling. So I know one particular staff. What she does is she loves cycling so much, she loves to buy bicycles. She will take tons of pictures of all her bicycles, her Bromptons, everything. She'll post. Guess what happened? She slowly started a little Facebook group. And in this Facebook group, there were so many people that were not Christian. And she didn't feel the need to okay, now I'm going to spray paint John 3:16 on my bike. It's not. It's like, this is my passion. And then as they begin to talk to her, because they're so intrigued by her passion, and I tell you, people are very intrigued and interested in people who are passionate. And they were so intrigued, they talked to her more, and then they found out, oh, you're church staff? Oh, okay. And then once in a while, they'll ask her questions about faith. People love people who are passionate.
Awesome story, isn't it? What's your story? Tell it, right? In fact, we had one of our webinars was by Lillian. Then the title is "You Have a Story, Tell It," and she said that our stories uniquely hold the message of the gospel. We need to be good stewards of that story and let people into that story. And the next is being collaborative, right? I think of this friend of mine who actually has a day job as a PR in a PR firm. And he loves Chinese music, Chinese pop music, And the idea of connecting people around something that they're interested in. And so what he did was that he rallied friends who also enjoy music, particularly Chinese pop music. And then they did some live singing together. They did karaoke live. And so it was a shared kind of interest. And then during Chinese New Year, what was cool was that they knew that there were a lot of needs. People were lonely. They were stuck in Singapore. They couldn't go back for Chinese New Year, which they're so used to do. So they did a virtual Chinese New Year reunion, just giving a sense of community for the people who are who are lonely. And this is, again, you do it with others. It's just so fun, when you get a chance to collaborate. And finally, being bold. Be bold. Start simple in your current space. In fact, Isaac, in one of his talks, he said, you start with the little steps. Even liking your non-Christian friends' post or commenting prayerfully, and strategically making a comment, showing that you are actually interested in their lives. And then taking another step to say, I'll send a direct message to them. Hey, I thought about you. Is there something that, are you free to catch up for coffee, And then maybe the next step is posting some content on your own social media, something that is a reflection of what's going on in your own story, right? One final reminder, in digital ministry, we often say this: we go where people are. We go where people are because this is the fundamental principle of outreach and mission. It is also because behind every screen is a person, right? And that person has a story, and that story matters to God. And that friend of yours, or that relative, or that family member, they are also on a journey. We recognize that everybody is seeking and searching, and we have this unique privilege to come alongside them in their spiritual journey, their search for truth, purpose, and life.
So thank you for being with us. We hope that what we have given you today are just some handles and principles on how to do digital outreach. Digital outreach is not necessarily easy, right? It takes work and intentionality, but we can take simple steps to get started and to keep going. And we hope that these tools and tips that we have shared with you would have given you some confidence to approach digital outreach and get started. Now we're going to move into our Q&A segment. If you have any questions for us, please go to the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen and add in your questions. We'll try to answer as many as we can with the time that we have. I think right now we have a few questions already. So if you go to the Q&A section, you can actually also upvote if there's a question that you like, so that we'll see which are the questions that are really on people's hearts, and we will get to them. Okay, let's start. How about the first one? Care to share a personal experience in reaching out to someone around you? Wow.
You're talking about us, right?
Yeah. Okay. I guess so.
I think the first thought that came to me is this guy that washes cars at our HDB parking lot. And over the years, actually almost 2 years or more now, we've been making friends with him. And we got to know his name and also his partner that helps clean the cars. Last year, or was it the year before, we invited him to come for a meal, a Christmas meal, and to bring a friend along. That was our simple way to say, hey, you matter. Yes, you are a migrant worker, but we want to be your friend. And yeah, that was something that I felt like was so significant, and Lil makes a lot of effort too. Whenever we come back, we will say hello. Now we can see that he actually looks out for us every time we drive by.
He'll stop and wave
to us, and he noticed that Lil had broken her leg, and keeps asking, how is ma'am, how is she doing? We've been trying to still continue. We didn't quite get to a gospel conversation, but when they were here, they know that we are Christians, and we told them, and so yeah.
Actually, we also shared, right? Because you talk about digital outreach, right? We actually tried to share, some videos with him in his language. So besides just the Jesus film, right? We also had friends in India, our fellow staff in India.
Right.
They create short films, that kind of bring out a little bit of the gospel message. So, and they have many languages, right, in India. So we found the one that is his language, and I actually shared it with him, asked him to watch it, and also kind of have a conversation like, oh, what did you think? How did you feel after watching that? So so I think it goes hand in hand, both the one-on-one face-to-face interaction, as well as, using the tools that are, at our fingertips to be able to help us communicate the gospel in a way that we can't, in his language. Yeah, thank you for that question. Let me see. Oh, okay. How about we take this one? Will you share if there was an experience, encounter where a conversation went awkward? How did you or did you not manage to salvage it? Okay. Oh, wow. You have anything?
I'm not sure about awkward. I mean, I can think of a moment where I've tried to enter into a spiritual, topic, and some of you know about Grab Hitch, right? So when I did Grab Hitch, I would try to, during the pandemic, I would ask, so how's the pandemic been affecting you and impacting you? And I would, I remember one particular guy, he was a flight attendant, and he obviously his job was affected. He has to do insurance now. So we actually got somewhere, he was willing to open up more and share, but it came to a point where he's like, I can tell he doesn't actually want to discuss anymore so-called spiritual things, because we did talk a little bit about it, and then he was quiet. So I'm not sure if it's awkward, but this is where sometimes we're not trying to force anything on anybody. And I've learned over the years that yes, I want to make intentional efforts, but I'm not responsible for carrying this person through every single stage. If he or she is not ready or doesn't want to talk, God and the Holy Spirit will do the work, right, as needed for the next season or the next session with somebody else.
Yeah. So I remember a conversation. This was actually during a digital mission trip that we took. This is for crew, we call it our Red Project. And we were actually, talking with a group of students in Thailand. And some of them come from a Muslim background. So, we did a presentation. We talked about love, and we were able to talk about, Jesus and his love for us. And then when we went into a small group time, so I've been, talking with this same girl for a few nights already, and this was like the final night. And when I started to ask her, so, now that you've heard about, Jesus and his love, would you like to find out more? And, she was, respectful, but, very directly said that, I don't believe in Jesus, I have my own religion. Yeah, so I'm not really interested. And, how did I respond? It's okay, we are friends. So I think that the foundational thing we have to remember that is we are building a relationship, right? Remember, we are learning to ask, listen, right? So as we listen to them, we're trying to build relationships. So even when it gets awkward, it's okay. We don't have to keep pushing. Let's just step back and, I ask more questions to find out more about her again. Tell me more, about what you believe, and then, come to more understanding and more conversations. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully, that helps you a little bit. Yeah.
So I have a question here. Say, have you tried sharing with someone using the app? How did you open the app to share with your friend? The transition, was it awkward? Yeah, I'm trying to understand the question behind the question. I can see why sometimes it's a little odd, right? You're talking with your friend, especially if it's a good friend, like you suddenly move to the app. It could be. However, if you can, if the app actually helps you stay on track of conversation, it's okay to ask permission. Say, hey, I would love to share something, but it's on this app. Do you mind if I just use it to walk through with you, right? So it may feel awkward in the initial stage, but then as you get into it, and especially if they are tracking with you, then it's not going to feel so odd. I mean, you think about it, when somebody shares with you, say, hey, I watched this funny clip, I want you to see it, right? It's kind of similar. It's like you also got to gather around the phone. You look at it for a short while. So yeah, I understand it's not the usual thing for people, but if it helps you to be clear and to move through the points, why not? Of course, with your friend, if the gold standard is, of course, have a sense of where you want to go, maybe even memorize some of the key points and then share it naturally, right? That's of course a good thing, but no shame if you needed to use the app to sort of guide you along, or just the key points, and you can always add your personal stories to it.
Yeah. Especially if it is a conversation that's online, right? Or that you are just chatting on your phone. So I remember I shared that got tools, you can share screen or you can send them a link to the tool and they can open it up and look at it. So it's not, it doesn't quite break the flow in terms of a transition. If you're imagining like having a one-on-one conversation and suddenly you pull up a phone, that's not difficult. But yeah, if you're already using an online platform to chat, so it's not difficult at all. Yeah.
Okay, let's try this one. What are some factors that make digital outreach not simple? How do we complicate it? Humans tend to complicate things. I mean, to be fair, as I think Lil was trying to express, digital outreach or any kind of outreach it's not necessarily easy, right? When we say it's easy, means, oh, no problem at all, right? There is no effort needed. I think outreach or evangelism, it takes effort and intentionality, and it's often not easy. And that's the reason why people don't do it, right? Apart from other factors. But I think it can be simple, as in the sense of like, we don't have to complicate it, which is why I like this question. And I think the simple part is taking small steps first, right? So when we try to consider too many things, we get ourselves, all tangled up. Yeah, I think, like, for example, one of the reasons why we fear talking to people is we're wondering what is going to be their response, and we assume it's going to be bad. But we don't know, right? Yes. Is it possible they can reject it? Absolutely, right? There was a point, maybe you rejected the gospel. So, but could it be a favorable response, and could it go well? Sure, right? Can the Holy Spirit do a work that you can't do? Obviously, and He needs to. So in a sense, I would say, yeah, we complicate it when we say, oh, we got to do this, we got to do this, consider that, and then we don't step out. Honestly, I think even if you didn't attend the session and you just went for it, so to speak, right, and you kind of blundered your way through, you still can be used by the Holy Spirit. And that's not to say we cannot grow. And I commend you that you are here and you're watching this. So you can grow and you can be more tactful, more considerate, and in your approach, so that it's more winsome. Yeah. So I don't know if it helps, but I think the heart behind the question is good. So start with something simple. I think one more thing I'll add is that I think because when we think of technology and the whole wide world, or of social media and media and as a whole, right, we get intimidated. It's like, where do we go with this, right? And so yeah, I think it's just take some recommendations, start there, and then learn and grow from there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as we were trying to answer this question, or when we were given this topic, we're thinking about digital outreach made simple. For me, the question I asked is, how is digital outreach different from normal outreach, like evangelism that you would, when you normally reach out to a friend? I think we don't want to let the digital part trip us up, right? Digital is just the platforms that God has already gifted us with to be able to connect with people nowadays, much more than, we know that, because of COVID, we can't see people as easily, but through Zoom, through, your phones, whatever, you can easily connect with people. So actually it's given us more opportunities to engage and to connect with people online. And if we just think of evangelism as just building a relationship, right? Sharing our lives, sharing our stories, and hoping that they catch a glimpse of the God of our lives through the stories of our lives. That is basically outreach. So yeah, we don't have to make it difficult. It can just be a life on life. We build relationship. We open up the doors for them to want to hear our stories, and then we let the Holy Spirit take it further. So yeah, I agree that sometimes we are the ones that make it complicated, when actually just take a simple step of faith, text someone, share a picture. Yeah, take simple steps.
It's great.
I think we have one final question. We kind of talked about that already, but maybe the second part. So the question says, how do we balance both face-to-face, in-person sharing of the gospel and digital outreach? We've kind of talked about that. So we don't swing to either type of mode.
Yeah, I think good question. I personally feel like there's a presupposition to this question, right? That is it possible to overdo on something, right? So the way I approach this is, what does the person need, right? So if you're talking about your family or your friend, do they respond best in which medium, and you approach it that way, right? So if a person loves reading, right, and that's how they would respond to. It doesn't take a genius to say, let's send them some article to read, or give them a book, right? But if they're more visual and they enjoy videos, send them a video to consider, right? So it's not an issue of either or it's both and. If you get a face-to-face opportunities, why not? But what if this person is not comfortable with face-to-face? The reality is that some people open up even more when it's not face-to-face. So I don't know. I mean, why they do that, but maybe that's they feel safer. So that's why, on our digital channels, we hear people coming with their questions, their heartaches, their pains on digital platforms, but they would not do if you're in person, right? So I would approach this to say we need the whole breadth of ministry, whether in person or in person, face to face, or virtual. They are all ministry. It's all ministry. It's not one is better than the other, right?
Yeah. And many times now we use our phones or our devices to connect with like long lost friends, or friends we haven't spoken to or seen in a long time, and it's just to make that initial connection, right? And then also to build that, reconnect or build that relationship, and then maybe it will come to a point where you feel like to take this further. Let's meet, let's have tea, let's have a meal, and that's where you can take the journey even further, in terms of being able to share more of your life story, or even share the gospel presentation. So I think there is no hard and fast rule. It really depends on, I agree, what is comfortable for that person or for your relationship, and also what's the best medium for you to, in a sense, get the gospel message across. Well, thank you so much. I think we've been able to answer your questions. If there's any other questions that you think of and you want to send to us, please write to ready@cru.org.sg, and we will try to respond to you as much as we can. So thank you once again for being with us, and we will pass the time right now back to Maggie.
Thanks, Simon and Lillian. Wow, it feels like I'm watching some FM 958 那种 radio podcast with both of you, so chill and just share with us. I think it's really good, like, as you tie up the various webinars that has happened for this whole series. So I believe it's helpful for our participants today, as you're here and close of what has happened the past few months. So really feel free to go to cru.sg/watch again to catch up for the past webinar. So I just have one quick one announcement, which is our mass media, our medium ministry has put together curated resources for all of you to really to help you improve or even read and to really be trained and equipped in the areas of reaching out to your friends, to your neighbors around you. Yeah, so as Lillian and Simon shared just now, I think one thought came to my mind was to really sometimes when we want to open up our house, right? Sometimes we are so scared. We have to clean up all part of the house, right? Make sure all the dust, all the hairs, and all the plate are in the right place. And by the time maybe we finish cleaning up, right? We sian already. I don't want to invite friends to our house because you're so tired trying to be perfect. And sometimes going for a model house, if you have went to any house visit, sometimes it can be really cold going to such house for a visit. But if you were to look at a home, a place of home, is more real, there's life, there's warmth, just as we open our lives authentically to others. Yeah, being able to share from where we are and who we are today. Yeah, so I think as no matter how old you are, you have a story, you have something that God has placed in your life to really to share and to witness His glory to others. Yeah, so I think don't be shy to open up your house, your little story to others as we reach everyone around us. So thank you for joining us tonight. So we want to close today's segment. So feel free to go back to really to watch again and to catch up with our others webinars and crew opportunities that we have. So thank you everyone. Good night and God bless. Bye.